Superior Court judge is now hearing arguments from news organizations and the local DA about whether the public should be allowed to see the results of an extensive special grand jury investigation into former President Trump's alleged meddling in the state's 2020 election results. Joining me now is NBC's Blayne Alexander in Atlanta. So, Blayne, take us through the key players in court today, the Georgia procedures that are unusual here because this is not an indicting grand jury. And what did Fani Willis, the DA, say in court today?
Well, Andrea, that hearing is now less than 15 minutes underway. We just heard from Fulton County DA Fani Willis, and the big headline from what she says is that she does not believe this report should be made public. She stood up before the judge and said that, speaking as somebody who represents the people, she says that in the name of justice and in the name of, in her words, protecting future defendants, she does not believe that any portion of this report should be made public. This isn't something that we had heard before. Remember, up until about 5 minutes ago, we didn't know which way she went on whether or not this should be made public. Notable, however, that she is one of very few people who actually knows what's in that report. And as she said directly to the judge, and I want to read a quote, she says, she spoke to Judge Robert McBurney, who's been overseeing this from the beginning, and says, Judge, as you know, as someone who's read this report, that, quote, decisions are imminent. And so she says that she doesn't believe that it's appropriate for any of this report to be made public. Now, we know that throughout the hearing, we're going to hear from other people, specifically members of the media, an attorney representing members of the media who are trying to make it public. They're citing what they're calling an extraordinary public interest in this case, even pointing to the fact that the grand jurors themselves, the body that actually heard all of the testimony over many months and wrote this report, says that they want it to be made public. They voted for it to be released to the public. They're going to argue on that front. But this is, again, ongoing as of right now, Andrea. Another thing I want to point out from what we've heard within this hearing is the extraordinary measures that they've gone to keep this report from leaking. Judge McBurney said from the very beginning that he actually hand-delivered a copy of that report to the DA's office, and he said he believes that that is the only report that's in circulation, the only copy in circulation. So it wasn't digitally transmitted or emailed in any way. He actually took a hard copy there, presumably to keep it from leaking out before any sort of decision is made on this. And Andrew, I think we have a little bit of sound from inside the courtroom, if we can toss to what Fani Willis had to say.
We think for future defendants to be treated fairly, it's not appropriate at this time to have this report released. I, as the elected district attorney, have made several commitments to the public, understanding the public interest around this case. At this time, in the interest of justice and the rights of not the state but others, we are asking that the report not be released because you having seen that report, decisions are imminent.